Hey guys, this video is a part 2 to the video that I posted last Monday talking about going to the psych ward. So I just got released today, so I just wanted to give a quick little update on how it went and also to give some encouragement to anyone else that's considering hospitalization. So I was really nervous this time, which I think I talked about in my last video too, just because this was my first time going to a different hospital. This is my 5th hospitalization, and the other 4 times I went to the same hospital, but I had some really bad experiences there. So this time I decided to try out a new hospital, which was really nerve-wracking for me because I really like it when things are familiar and I know what's going on. So even though I had bad experiences at the other hospital, at least I knew the people for the most part and I kind of knew how things worked. So it was a little bit scary for me to go to a different one. But I'm really glad that I did it because I had a much better experience than I had at any of my other hospitalizations, and I feel like it was really helpful this time. So the main reason that I go to the hospital is for suicidal thoughts. Typically I go when I have a very solid plan and when I don't feel like I can keep myself safe. So that is why I went last week and stayed until today. I felt like this was the week that I was going to follow through with the suicide plan that I'd come up with. So instead of doing that, I decided to go to the hospital. And then I just wanted to say a little bit about how the hospital helps me and kind of why I go and what it does for me. Because I think that a lot of people have the idea that you go to the hospital and then you come out and you're better and like your suicidal thoughts are gone and like you're fine again. And for some people, that is the experience that they have. Some people go in and they get their medications changed around and then they leave feeling much better because they're on medications that are helping them. That's never the case for me. I don't typically change my medications while I'm in the hospital. So the real reason that I go is because my suicidal thoughts, the way I've always described them is they're constant. So I have them all the time. And periodically they get really loud. So they get much more specific. I'm thinking about them a lot more. They're kind of taking over my mind a little bit more than usual. A lot of the times when I have them, I can kind of keep them in the background a little bit and just try to not ignore them, but not like listen to them quite as much. And the reason that the hospital helps me with this is because the way my suicidal thoughts work is they're getting louder and louder because they want me, or I sound like I'm, saying that I have like multiple voices in my head, which is not the case for me. But the suicidal thoughts just get really almost aggressive, and it's like I don't have a choice but to listen to them. And obviously, what the suicidal thoughts and what my brain is telling me to do is to listen to the thoughts and to act on those thoughts by going through with the plan. And when I go to the hospital, I'm essentially acting on the thoughts, just not in the way that, I would want to. Because the way they work is I think about them and I really do want to go through with the plan. And that's how my suicidal thoughts want me to listen to them. But by going to the hospital, I'm showing that part of my brain that I'm taking them seriously. So I'm taking the suicidal thoughts very seriously. And even though I'm not acting on them in the way that my brain would prefer me to, I'm still acting on them by going to the hospital and getting some extra help. So that's really why I go. When I come out, like I still have the thoughts, they're still there, but temporarily it does a really good job of quieting them down because again, like I said, I've acted on them and I've listened to them. So now they can kind of quiet back down a little bit and I can push them off and not think about them quite as much as I was right before I went in. So that was definitely the experience that I had this time, and it was super helpful because this was probably the worst that my suicidal thoughts had ever been, including my other hospitalizations. This time was definitely the worst for me. And the difference in going in and then coming out, the difference in my thoughts is pretty big. I think people expect me to come out and say like, oh, I went to the hospital, so my suicidal thoughts are completely gone. But unfortunately, that's not how it works for me. But it did make a pretty big difference and it did help me feel a lot better. So to end this video, I just want to end with a little bit of encouragement, just like I did in my last video. If you're struggling with suicidal thoughts and you don't feel like you can keep yourself safe, please reach out to someone, a therapist, a friend, or even bring yourself to the emergency department because you can do that and you can get the help that you need because you absolutely deserve help no matter what level of suicidal thoughts you're having. They should always be taken seriously, and you should always try to get help for them as much as you can. And I also wanted to say that if you're someone who is more like me when it comes to suicidal thoughts and you go into the hospital kind of expecting to come out feeling better and you don't feel like completely better, I want you to know that that's normal too, and that's a perfectly valid and okay reaction. If your suicidal thoughts get better while you're there, great. If they don't get any better while they're there, that's still okay. Just continue to be open with a therapist, a psychiatrist, and continue to get the help that you need. And if you're like me, where your suicidal thoughts are kind of constant and going to the hospital doesn't take them away, but it quiets them down a little bit, that's also a really valid response. And it's a great way to use the hospital too. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will be making some more videos about the psych ward coming up. I think my next one I'm going to post talking about some tips to help you in the psych ward. So just like some things you can do to make your time better and to make the most of your time. So if you are interested in seeing that and the other videos that I post, it would be awesome if you subscribe to my channel. And thank you guys again for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.